It's probably the first thing you should do when you buy a used car. It's boring to do, it's dirty, it takes a bit of your time, and that's maintenance. So in this video, I'll be doing some minor maintenance on this NA Miata. I'm gonna be changing the oil, air filter, and flush the radiator. This is MZ, and I'm about to get greasy. I get it, you just bought the car and you're super excited. You want to take it out and you just send it. But it's always a good idea to at least do these three before you beat on the old girl. Because basically you have no idea how good or how old the fluids are in this car. For example, who knows when the engine oil was changed last by the previous owner? You don't know. You also get a good sense of how well the car's running too. You know, if there's any leaks, if there's anything that needs to get replaced, anything you need to keep an eye on. Okay, enough with the talk. Let's do things because I'm cold and I want to go inside. All right, I'm going to start with the simplest one on the list, and that's the air filter. All you need to do is find your air box, open it up, take out the old filter, put in the new filter, close your air box back up, and that's it. Done. And that cost a whopping $15 and almost 3 minutes to do. And you got that done at the dealership. Okay, off to the oil change. To change your oil, you need to find your oil filler cap and your oil drain plug. The oil filler cap is right on top of the engine, and it usually has a genie lamp looking symbol on it. And the oil drain plug is going to be right underneath the car down here. It's that bolt down there. So obviously to get access to that drain plug, you need to lift your car up on jack stands and try to get your car to be as level as possible. Get your drain pan, get it ready, put it under the car. Grab an appropriate size wrench or socket and just crack it open. Although I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna get any oil on my hands, I still put on gloves because this stuff's nasty. Careful not to drop the bolt. And you just let it drain. Now you need to find your oil filter. For this car, it's up there. You could access it both from the top or the bottom. I'm gonna go at it from the bottom. This is supposed to be hand tight, so it's supposed to just come off by hand. But if it doesn't, you can just use one of these. You go in there, grab it with your channel lock. And because it doesn't matter, you're throwing this out. And that's it. One thing you want to pay attention to is this gasket around this old filter. If it's not on the filter, chances are it's still on your engine. So you need to go scrape that off before putting on your new filter. Otherwise, you're just going to get leaks. So while we wait for that to drain, let's talk about oil. Here's basically everything you need to know about engine oil. There are three main types: synthetic, synthetic blend, and at the bottom of the food chain, conventional oil, or dinosaur juice. Long story short, if you don't have a rotary engine in your car, you want to go with synthetic. And none of that synthetic blend and all that, you want full synthetic. Now let's talk about this label right here. There's always a number, a W, and then another number at the end. The numbers are the viscosity grade of the oil. The lower the number, the thinner the oil, the less viscous it is. So more like this. It's runny and it just, you know. And the higher the number, the thicker or more viscous the oil. It's like this. It's like honey. Basically, viscosity is the resistance to flow. Now, oil viscosity changes with temperature. As you might have guessed, cold oil is more viscous and it flows less. On the other hand, hot oil is more runny, it's less viscous. So the same oil could be like this on a full send with your engine hot on a hot summer day, which could just break down and burn off, not giving you enough lubrication. And like this on a cold morning when you're about to start your car, doesn't flow well, making it hard for your engine to start. But all these oils are multi-grade viscosity oils. That's why there are two numbers there. The first number is your cold temperature viscosity, followed by W, which stands for winter. And the number at the end is the high temperature viscosity rating. This means the oil will flow well when it's cold, but it'll stay thick enough to give you proper lubrication when it gets hot, instead of just breaking down with the heat and burning off. So for example, an engine oil with this label right here would behave like a grade 10 viscosity oil when it's cold for easy and healthy cold starts, and it will behave more like a grade 30 oil when it's hot for proper lubrication and high temperatures. Check your owner's manual to see what the manufacturer recommends for your car. They usually have different recommendations based on the climate you live in. The owner's manual for this car recommends 10W30 for warmer climates and 5W30 for colder climates. So needless to say, we're going with 5W30. Once the oil is completely drained, you want to take your drain plug, put it back on, and then just tighten it a little bit more with your wrench. Don't go crazy with it either. Now take your new oil filter. You want to take some of that oil and just pour it in. Don't make a mess like me. Be careful. Then you want to take a little bit with your finger and just give this gasket a thin coating of oil. Now it's ready to go back on the car. And just screw it back on. All you have to do is make it hand tight. That's it. And then you open up your fill cap and put in your funnel. Now this car is supposed to take around 3.6 liters of oil. So I'm gonna pour in 3.5 liters and then check the oil level. If I need more, I'll just keep adding. There are usually these lines here. One side is quarts, one side is liters. That way you can tell how much you've added. When you're checking your oil, you want it to be right in between that full and low mark. And to check your oil, you just pull out your dipstick, give it a wipe, put it back in, make sure it's seated, and then pull it back out. Yeah, there you go, right in the middle. Take out your funnel, put your cap back on, and that's it for oil. After this, you want to let your engine run for a little bit till it gets to operating temps, and then you let it sit for 5 minutes, check oil level at that point. If you need to add more, add more. If not, that's it, you're completely done with this. Another important point, pour the used oil into your empty jugs and take it to your local recycling center. If not, take it to a shop, they'll take it. Don't dump it anywhere because they're really bad for the environment. Now let's move on to the radiator flush. To drain your radiator, first thing you want to do, you want to make sure the car's cooled down. Yeah, it's cool, it's cool. Because when it's hot, the entire cooling system is under pressure. So when you open anything, you'll have boiling water spraying all over the place. Now you want to find your radiator's drain plug. For this car, it's run underneath the radiator right here. You want to grab your drain pan and put it underneath. Make sure it's big enough to catch all the fluids. Now you want to pull the plug. Don't break anything. And then open your radiator cap. Look. I personally use one of these funnels to do the radiator flush. It's very inexpensive and it just makes the process easier. It has attachments that form a seal around the neck of the radiator. Once the radiator is completely drained, you want to close the drain plug and then fill your radiator with distilled water. Distilled water only. Don't waste your antifreeze at this point. Looks like it's not going down anymore, so I would say it's filled. At this point, you just want to start your car, let it run, get up to operating temperature, and just keep an eye on this funnel and just make sure it has water in it. That way we get the water to go through the whole system, washing out the leftover coolant. Once you see big bubbles coming out and a lot of water just going in again, that means your thermostat just opened, and that's what you want. Now you shut the car off and let everything cool down again, and then drain the radiator once again. You want to repeat this process till the water that's coming out of here is as clear as fresh water. This one's brown, so obviously we're gonna do it again. This looks pretty clean, so we're done doing the flush. We're just gonna add the antifreeze at this point. Close this back up. As with every fluid in your car, you want to check your owner's manual to see what kind of antifreeze you need and at what concentration. Every kind of antifreeze has its own color, you know, there's green, orange, all that. But a 50-50 mix with 50 parts water and 50 parts antifreeze is generally fine with most cars. But if you live in very hot temperatures, you want to go with a lower concentration of antifreeze. Something like 80% water, 20% antifreeze. Because water dissipates heat much better than antifreeze. And it's not just any water, it needs to be distilled water. I don't recommend going 100% with water because antifreeze has chemicals that will help with corrosion and it'll just keep your cooling system healthy. But again, check your owner's manual. This car needs the green antifreeze. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff about the chemical composition of what's what. Don't worry about it, just go with the colors. If you look at the packaging, it even says Mazda. So we're good, so we're gonna put this in. Now you just wanna let it what's called burp. You're trying to get all the air out of your cooling system. You don't want air bubbles in there, trust me. Once the car gets up to the operating temperatures, you wanna put your heat on full blast. Once that's done, you want to go to your reservoir and fill that up to the full mark as well. And then you put your radiator cap back on. So that's it. You change the air filter, you change the oil and oil filter. You also flush the radiator. Now I'm just gonna check the oil one last time and take it for a test drive. With the top down. I don't care how cold it is. The car feels exactly the same. It's just I feel better about it. Now I know there's like somewhat of a decent quality fluid in it, and they're pretty new. And knowing that there's fresh fluid in there, I don't feel as bad beating on it. Yeah. And like I mentioned, another good thing about doing this right off the bat is that if there are leaks or anything wrong with the car, you'll notice it right now, which I did. This car has some leaks which I need to fix. So in the future episodes, I'm gonna fix those big leaks that this car has. So make sure you subscribe to this channel if you don't wanna miss those episodes. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Enzo Pires.